What up, y'all? State Almighty, aka the Global Dark Skin Ambassador, and I'm gonna explain to y'all how to talk yourself out of getting shot. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is because more than one time in my life, I had a gun put in my face. And there's one specific time I had to literally talk myself out of being shot. Now, most men resort to violence because they do not lack the proper communication skills to deal with their emotions. And I want all men to know that being a killer and being violent does not make you a man. A man's real value is the way he uses his mind and wit to dominate or survive a situation while still retaining his manhood. Me and another guy who I knew, we were both dealing with this girl, ping-ponging it back and forth because she's a whore. And one day, me and that girl got into an altercation, and we ended up having some kind of beef, if you will. Not actually beef because she's a chick, but... And in the middle of that situation, she got into the other guy's ears and was basically trying to tell him that I was pillow talking about him, doing this, that, and the third. And I seen him in the hood. And when I stepped to him, he had a gun and he pulled his gun out. And he was about to shoot me. I looked him in his face. And this is what I did to keep myself from being shot. Number one, always value peace over violence. Always value peace over violence. If you go into every potential situation, every potential beef with the idea of valuing peace over violence, your mind will then conduct different ways for you to make that situation become a reality. Number two, assess the situation and find out if there even is a real problem. When I say assess the situation, I mean assess the situation and find out if there's even a real problem. Here's the thing about people who come from where we come from not having good communication skills, okay? Someone could have what you call a rusting bitch face, which is they might have a scowl on their face, but they don't really have an issue with anybody and they just may look in your direction, right? Also, people may say things and you may take it offense, but they might have not meant any harm by it. So if you feel like there's an issue between you and somebody, you need to assess the situation and use critical thinking and ask yourself, does this person really have an issue with me? Do I really have an issue with this person? Is this issue worth taking it to fisticuffs, Merry Fistmas, getting into some physical violence? 9 times out of 10, it wasn't even that serious to begin with. Number 3, look a man in his eyes when you're talking to him. This goes back to the situation that I was in when I was in Cortland, walking through the hood, and I ran into this guy who me and him were sleeping with the same woman, and she lied because she's a bitch, and told him that I was basically pillow talking about him and saying disrespectful things about him and going back to him and then coming back to me and saying the same thing, right? I always know this situation. When a woman is mad at you, she's capable of anything. So when I was walking through the hood and I seen this guy, I seen the look in his face and I peeped his energy and I peeped the fact that, you know, as soon as he seen me, he put his hand in his hoodie and I could tell that he had his hand on the trigger. So what I did was I looked him in his eyes and I began having a conversation. And I said to him, I said, hey, bro, I'm looking at you in your eyes. You my mans, you been my mans. Don't let this corny chick get us into any kind of situation where one of us could be dead or both of us lose our lives, one loses his life, one goes to jail. What's this really about? You knew me before you knew Shorty. What reason would I have to lie to you? Next, don't beat around the bush. Get straight to the point, talk to that man, not like a pussy or too aggressive. Just talk the way you need to talk. Talk in a calm tone and in a respectful tone. You have to look a man in his eyes and you have to be serious and you have to get straight to the point. Don't beat around the bush. If you're scared, don't even approach the man. Now, if the man approaches you, you need to gain your composure and talk to that man like a man and have the conversation that needs to be had. Number 6, be a man about it and admit your faults first. If you know you may have said something foul about a man, if you know that you may have rubbed the man the wrong way and you know this, instead of acting tough, instead of acting like you don't care about your life, right? Treat that man with some respect and dignity and admit your faults to that man and deal with whatever consequence of whatever it is. But you'll come to find out that when you're honest with somebody and you look them in the eyes with a straight face and you keep it real and you apologize and you're genuine and sincere and you do not have to sound like pussy about it, you will find that you will be forgiven. And it's easy to have a conversation and squash things. X, if you really don't want an issue, be honest about it. Because I'll tell you something. Me growing up in the hood, me being in prison, me having many fights before prison and in prison, you'll come to find out that if you really pull a man to the side and say, hey, listen, I'm not scared of you, but I'm gonna be real with you. I don't want no problems. I don't even think it's that serious. Like, if you really want to take it there, then I guess we have no choice, but I really don't want to take it there with you. If you be honest and say that to a man, you'll come to find out that he feels the exact same way. Therefore, you guys can find common ground and dead your issue. Next, shake hands and make up. You can tell a lot about a man by looking him in his eye, shaking his hand, having a real conversation with him, and just being honest and being real, you know? There's nothing soft, right, about shaking a man's hand, being honest with him, admitting your faults, forgiving him for his transgressions. As long as he ain't put his hands on you, he ain't do nothing like violate your mom or your kid or your girlfriend. And when I say girlfriend, I mean wife. And when I say girlfriend, I mean a woman who is not ratchet and doesn't constantly get into situations like a lot of the ratchet baby mothers we may have. And I'm speaking to somebody who has 2 of them. 8, long as nobody draws first blood, you should be able to work it out and smooth things over. It's as simple as that. Now, if somebody puts their hands on you, then the fight already started, the war has already begun, you have to do what you have to do. But until that point, everybody should be able to talk. As long as people don't put their hands on each other, everybody should be able to talk. Conflict resolution is a major issue amongst men, but especially in black communities. We learn how to talk trash about each other. We learn how to fight. We learn how to rap, dance. But the one thing that we are not taught, or there is a lack of teaching, is conflict resolution. Dealing with your emotions in a productive way without resorting to violence.